welcome. I just wanted to let people know as well that you saw the sign-in book out the front. For those of you who are here, thank you for signing in and using hand sanitizer, and thank you also for social distancing. I just want to first of all say that we recognise that Flinders Social Work operates on the traditional lands and waters of Kaurna people, and we pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge their sovereignty and continued responsibility to care for country. We respect the importance of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander knowledges, language and spirituality, as well as their relationship to country. We are committed to truth-telling about the history of social work education and practice in the state, and working in partnership with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and communities to achieve a shared vision for reconciliation. So my name's Louise Butler. I'm the course coordinator for the Masters of Social Work, and that means that I will be someone that you at times may get to know, but I have some oversight for the Masters of Social Work and work with colleagues who will be teaching you throughout your journey through your Masters. And we welcome student involvement in what we do and interaction. So please know that you can be in contact with us, and we are keen to hear what your experiences, but also help you along that journey. First of all, I've just got a short YouTube video I want to play to welcome you.
Hi, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to Flinders University. Every year it's terrific to see new faces on campus and to know that so many people have chosen to study here at Flinders. I love walking through the hub, feeling that incredible buzz and seeing students just like you, talking to new friends, sharing ideas, helping each other out. These are just some of the things that make Flinders such a wonderful place to study, as I'm sure you'll discover once you find your feet. Your first few days may seem a bit of a blur. We've all been there. Starting university is a big step, and it takes time to learn all the ins and outs. But don't worry, plenty of support's available to help make your transition to life at Flinders as easy as possible. Flinders staff and student ambassadors can help you find your way. And I know from experience that your fellow students are kind, inclusive, and always ready to help. So where do you begin? Well, Flinders' website's a great starting point. You'll find campus maps and plenty of information about university life. Our Ask Flinders Facebook page will keep you up to date on university events and Flinders news. Flinders also has a busy social scene, and Flinders University Student Association, FUSA, can help you find social clubs and many other activities. As well as online support, we also provide support in person at our campus locations at Sturt, Tonsley, Victoria Square, regional South Australia, and across the Northern Territory. Here at Bedford Park, the Flinders Connect team in the hub can answer questions about enrolments and course information. The Student Learning Centre within Flinders Library is also a great resource for any academic help that you might need. Our confidential and professional health, counselling and disability services are available to all students, and Flinders Oasis drop-in centre is a warm and inviting space for people from all backgrounds to socialise. Oh, and of course Bedford Park has plenty of food outlets, although I'm sure you've discovered those for yourself already. I'm confident that you're going to love being a student here at Flinders University, and I hope you're going to have the time of your life.
Hi, I'm Professor Claire Pollock. Well, as you can see, I have a bit of a title, but my main role is to work alongside our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Colin Sterling, to ensure Flinders University does everything we can to give you a world-class education and a great university experience.
We don't want to keep saying that. So I wanted to give you that quick, brief intro. A lot of it you know, but the message there is welcome, and to give you just a bit of a snapshot of places you can go for support, but also enjoy the facilities here at Flinders. It's not. Sorry again. Okay, thanks. So MSW Social Work, thanks for enrolling and being interested in coming along to start your journey in social work. People who come into the Masters of Social Work come from a variety of backgrounds, and it's postgraduates, so you will have had a degree and perhaps even had some professional experience from somewhere else. This is a picture of some of the people that you will be expecting to teach you, some of the teachers within the MSW and also the BSW. The people in the picture are lecturers, but they've also been researchers, they've also been social workers at times in their career, and continued to, many of those people practice in social work while they they also are here at Flinders as educators. The social work is an accredited profession, and you would be aware, I imagine, as you chose to come to the MSW and chose to pursue a career in social work, that we are members or have an accrediting body, the AASW, and that's a professional body that gives us direction about what accreditation requires. So we have requirements to fulfil in the program to ensure that by the time you graduate, you could become a member of the ASW and that your qualification will be recognised. So some of the expectations that the ASW have of us and that we fulfil is that you are here for 20 days at least of face-to-face learning, and that's an accreditation standard that is required and that we fulfil. One of the really big questions that students quite often ask when they think about embarking on their MSW journey is about the placement. And there are 2 placements within the Masters, and they are both 500-hour field education placements, and they are available in a range of human service organisations in South Australia and also interstate. They are requirements of us, and there are requirements pre-placement which you will need to fulfil, and they are things like police clearances for working with vulnerable adults, working with children, and working with people with disabilities. That's something that you will be informed about and you will be required to fulfil. If you have a police record and that becomes an issue, we will need to have a conversation with you about that. So my recommendation is, if you think that that's something that's going to affect you, please contact us early and we can work through that. There are also, if you go to the MSW site on Flow, which you will all have got to the point of becoming familiar with, there are inherent requirements. I recommend that you become familiar with those, and also a charter on professional conduct for student social workers. I also recommend you become familiar with that, and that is throughout your journey in this Masters, and it relates to the time you're here learning on campus or learning by distance, or indeed when you are in human service organisations on your placement. Do any of you have any questions about that so far? You will know about the program of study. I'm sure you will have had a look at what is going to be required of you into the future. I've outlined those core topics for the first year and the second year. I'm sure you've seen those. I've highlighted engaging in professional contexts in red because that is a prerequisite that you need to pass before you're able to go on to placement. And you will be able to read, when you go into the MSW site, I had a look at it again last night, have a good look at that, read all of those requirements before you get to the point of being ready for placement, because it's important that you have those things in place as you progress. So what will the MSW teach, and what does it aim to set out to do? We will certainly be looking at knowledge and skills for practice, and how to responsibly and reflectively work as a professional social worker, and how you will do that that's consistent with the ASW. Some of you may have worked in the human services before. Some of you may have worked in different roles. For example, many of the students I speak to have been teachers, or have worked as youth workers, or have worked in other areas where the human services are involved. However, when you come into the social work program, and when you start learning to become a social worker, we will be looking at things from a social work perspective, and that's clearly outlined by the ASW. We will look at inclusive and ethical professional social work practice, and that may have some differences, and it may also have some similarities to work you have done before. We will be critically reflecting and exploring relevant current social justice debates. We'll certainly be exploring and look to educate about the colonial history of Australia and the long-term effects on First Nation Australians. We will be looking at knowledge about current evidence-based professional social work practice models and approaches. And they will be really clearly outlined for you about what it is that social workers do, how they do that. So it's skill as well as those knowledge, that knowledge that is within our profession. You will learn about research and assess the value of research to social work practice, and start to look at a framework for inclusive and ethical professional work practice and research, and begin to understand the importance about research and evidence base within our profession, and how important that our profession rely on that research. We have professional values, knowledge and skills, and we will be exploring ways with you to demonstrate practice judgment and expertise. So learning those skills, but making sure that they are embedded in the values of our profession. We'll be looking at the cultural context of various practice approaches and relevance for specific situations and populations. So within social work, we take an eclectic approach, in the sense we look at different ways to engage with different groups of people, and we have approaches that we will explore that are more relevant for one than another. And we also aim to teach interpersonal practice, social policy and research at a national and international level. So a social work degree, MSW, will set you up to work and allow you to work within Australia, but also overseas. And that's something that you will hear throughout your course, because social workers in our program have also worked within South Australia, interstate and overseas, so it's relevant to all of those contexts. So that's some specific information about the MSW. But today is also about orientation and getting you ready for your journey here at Flinders. So we're going to talk about getting your essentials sorted, getting prepared, and making the most of orientation. So some of this I think you may know, but it is information that could be useful. You'll need your student ID card to complete. You will need it for just about every part of what you do here at the university. So all of those important tasks, such as borrowing at the library, going and sitting exams, and also printing. So that's important to get sorted right from the beginning. If you haven't already enrolled in all of your topics for semester 1, the topics that I put up earlier on, we strongly suggest you enrol as soon as possible and secure your place and within that timetable. So follow those links for enrolment, please. Your required textbooks and resources are available on the student website at Student Flinders, and follow that link. So there's a lot of options for sourcing textbooks, and some you're able to loan, and others you will need to or you're able to purchase. So I encourage you to follow that. Parking at Bedford Park and Sturt is free during Oweek, but be aware that after that you will need to look at paying for your parking. And I think that it is fair to say that parking is sometimes difficult, and you will need to be aware of that, securing your car parking, pay for car parking, but also making sure you're aware of when your timetable is, so you are able to maximise your chance to get a park if you need it. Many of you will be aware there is a bus loop, and there is a link there for the bus loop information, so I encourage you to follow that information. This might not be something you're thinking of now, but it could be. But there are a wide range of scholarships available to students commencing this year. And I encourage you to have a look at that if you think that that's relevant to you, or that's something that you're interested in pursuing and finding out more information about. The Wi-Fi connection at Flinders is clearly there, so please use that. Yep. So getting prepared for the next step. Now, you have all had a university experience before. I'm sure you appreciate that these are prepared slides for all students. But even though you may have studied at a different university, or indeed Flinders, I encourage you to take note of all of that good advice about getting prepared. So during Oweek, there will be campus tours that leave every hour between 10 and 5 from the campus tour booth in the plaza at Bedford Park. So if that is something that you are interested in and would find useful, please do join one of those tours. In the Welcome Hub, I encourage you also to come along, meet people, meet staff and students, find it more out about what Flinders offers, and there was a lot of information and pictures at the beginning on the YouTube video I showed about the facilities here at Flinders. So please come along and connect with the Student Hub. And there is a lunch in a very short period of time here, and I encourage you to come just up to the courtyard and join that also. So one thing that is really useful is going onto the Flow or the Flinders Learning Online site, which I am sure you have all had a look at, and looking at that Finding Your Way at Flinders link, making that link and having a look through. I had a look at that, and I found that extremely useful actually. It's really important to remember that help really is available, and that doesn't matter where you are located today, whether you're here with me or whether you are watching this online. I really encourage you to reach out and ask for assistance if you need it. For some people, it's been a while since you've been at uni, or for others it was very recent but in a very different university or a very different degree. There are a lot of resources at Flinders, and I certainly encourage you to use them if that's relevant to you and you would find that useful. I know there are times, I'm the topic coordinator for the second year field education placement, and a lot of students find that they don't use services at some times, but at others, for example, when they go on their placement, they do need to use facilities here at Flinders for support. So it may not be relevant now, but I really encourage you to follow those up and see what's available if you need it. This is a message about safety online and making sure that you are safe online for your own sake, and also making sure that the way you behave online is safe. And it is important to make sure that you're aware of what your rights are, but also making sure that you are not overstepping or contravening other people's rights. So there is information about safety on campus and being online, and it's important to be aware of that. So the first thing that is useful to do is go and have a very good look through Flow. Have a look at the Masters of Social Work site and have a look at the topics that you are enrolled in. There's a great deal of information in each of them, and there is consistency through those Flow sites in the MSW. So I encourage you to take a deep dive in this orientation week before you start, to have a look at what's on your Flow site and see what information is available, and that is the first best start to preparing yourself. Look at the topic information booklet, which is in each topic's Flow site. And in that topic information booklet, it will outline exactly what is expected of you, what you will need to achieve, what attendance you will need to fulfill, and what the assessment looks like. It also talks about what your participation and involvement is in different ways. So you may be required to do some things remotely via distance, and other things you may need to attend, and it will give you direction about exactly where you need to be and when that will be, and who will be there with you. So all of that information, I really strongly recommend If you've got any questions, go to your flow site first. The statement of assessment methods is also there, and it clearly states what you will be assessed on, very clearly outlining what the assessment is, what the percentage weighting is, and it will be very clear, and I know it will also be very consistent with what's in your topic information booklet. Collaborate is also part of your flow site, so go to your flow and you will see there is a link to Collaborate, which there will be times that you will need to use to connect with your tutor, your topic coordinator or other students remotely. We recommend with university email that you check your email every day or two. So certainly be aware of that every couple of days. Please don't forget that when you go on placement. Quite often students go out on placement for those 500 hours and forget that they are students as well. They get, for very good reasons, immersed in their workplaces and have an email for that workplace or that placement, and forget that they are also still connected to the university. So please set up a routine where you're checking your emails regularly, because that's where you will get important information. That was particularly important last year during COVID, and reminding people that we still are in a pandemic. So students were given a great deal of information via their emails, and it's important to stay in touch with those. We are not out of the pandemic yet, so there may be changes that we need to give people on very short notice about things that will impact you. But it's not just unusual or extraordinary things that you will be informed about. You'll also be informed about if there are smaller changes that will affect you. So your email is your first and last name, your degree, and your student ID. Ask Flinders is, we recommend students go directly to Ask Flinders for that bigger university information or progress information or queries that are beyond what the topic coordinator would be able to answer for you, and to follow the prompts there if you need to adjust your schedule or your study. There will be people there who are able to answer some of your questions or direct your questions to the right people. And I get a lot of questions come to me via that pathway. And I want to acknowledge we have our colleague Sophie here, who is from
the College Office, Student Administration.
And Sophie will be here to answer some of your questions at the end if you have those sort of enrolment type questions.
I've also got copies, just hard copies of the study plan if anyone just wants to take one, they're welcome to. And if anyone does have put in an Ask Flinders request and they're still waiting, we apologise, it's a little bit busy and we're getting to it as soon as possible. So we haven't forgotten you.
They don't disappear after a period, unfortunately. Those questions, if you ask your questions through Ask Flinders, they are tracked and they have to be answered. So it is really someone like Sophie, and then in discussion with myself and other staff who answer those questions. I also acknowledge that the topic coordinators in all of those topics that you have enrolled in that I showed at the beginning are people that you should go to if you have any concerns about the specific topic that you are enrolled in, or if you are unsure about anything at that time. I'll say here as well that if you have concerns, or if something is really worrying you and you feel that it has got to the point that you are unhappy about something in a topic, go to your topic coordinator and speak to them first, rather than escalating concerns through other avenues, because it's important to give that topic coordinator the opportunity to answer some of the things that you may be asking. And it's them who ultimately will be, we will be discussing any concerns that come through. So I really strongly encourage you to go to the topic coordinator. They are people with a great deal of experience in their topics. Mostly anything that you ask or raise are things that they have dealt with before, and they are all people who are open to having a really good, robust conversation with you about whatever might be worrying you in your topic. I also just wanted to remind you all that you're in a Masters of Social Work program, and one of the things that we expect is that you can engage with that topic coordinator and talk things through in a way that will hopefully facilitate a resolution. That's what we expect of you when you graduate, and it's something that we expect for you to start to demonstrate now, and it's important that you do that. Of course, we understand that that can be daunting, but I really strongly recommend that be the first port of call. If for no other reason, then you will get a resolution quicker if you address any concerns to your topic coordinator, because the way things work is if you go through another channel, it's going to come back to me and to the topic coordinator, and it will take longer, and you may need a resolution faster than that. Does that make sense? Any questions? Yeah.
Sorry. How do we get in touch with the topic coordinator? So is there an email address that's provided? Or?
Yes. So go into your Flow site and have a look at that topic booklet that I talked about before, and all of that making contact information is there. And also there is a discussion board in on each Flow site for the topic where you can pose questions, and you will see already in a lot of topics students have had some discussion, and the topic coordinators will go in and answer those regularly. But if you look at the Flow site and that topic booklet, it will give you that guidance about contacting those people. Are there any other questions? Yes.
I've just got two really practical questions.
Oh, good.
How many days of the week is placement?
Yep. Do you want to ask the other question? I can.
And the other question is, with lectures and tutes, can you have them back to back over a 3-hour period? Or, like, is there enough time to get from the lecture to the tute? Because today I had to walk 10 minutes to get here this morning. So I just want to make sure there's enough transfer time, because there's not a lot of time.
Okay, so I'll answer that one first. So the timetable talks about lectures and some tutes being an hour or 2 hours. The lectures are actually 50 minutes, and so you do have time to get from lectures to tutorials. And I know it's a big campus, but they are usually set, so you're able to move. The timing is reasonable between those.
I hope they would be, but you know.
Yeah, that has been thought of. And I would also say that the lectures for topics are online, and tutorials are here in person, and that was really different last year. But there are also some distance components for some of the seminars or tutorials that you will be enrolled in, but that has been thought of. Where you see 1 hour, it is actually 50 minutes.
All of the lectures are online, or only 2 are online? The others are in person? Are we enrolled in the ones that
And the other question is about placement. Sometimes it is 5 days a week, and sometimes students are on placement for 4 days a week. There is a requirement for students to attend for a seminar for 5 sessions throughout their placement. So sometimes students have got other topics and they negotiate to have placement at fewer days than that, and that's pre-negotiated. So some students, for reasons that the placement require or for reasons that the students require, have less than that. But some students are on placement for 4 to 5 days, and it is the ideal that you are on placement for as many days as possible, because it allows you to immerse yourself in that organisation and have the opportunity to do all the tasks that occur, or all of the services that occur over that week. However, that's sometimes not possible, and the key in those situations is to negotiate that. That will be part of pre-placement planning. That will not get lost in the process. We have a team in the work integrated learning section of the university who will send you forms, start that process rolling and ask you that information and start to have that conversation with you. So placement can look very different for different people depending on the things, the competing demands in their life. We do understand that people have got work commitments and have also got family commitments or other reasons that they can't attend placement at the same degree that other people do. So that is taken into account. But I recognise the question because it is usually the thing that concerns people the most.
Yes, and is it the whole semester? Second semester?
Yeah, well, it goes for that semester. The placement goes for the duration of that semester, and sometimes it starts earlier and sometimes extends for longer, depending on the hours that the student does. But the key for the amount of time is not so much the confines of the semester, it's that 500 hours that you are required by the ASW guidelines to fulfil. But the good thing about placement is you will be captured early when you enrol to get your information and start that process about police clearances, etc. early. No one here wants to leave that to the last minute either. So if that's something that is uppermost in your mind, we all completely understand that. And we also understand that you've come into a master's program and very quickly need to do a placement. So of course it's uppermost in your mind, but there is a process for capturing you into that, starting to get an idea of what's going on for you and what you need to do in order to fulfil that.
Another question, is there any financial support for getting police clearances or DCSI clearance and stuff like that? Depends what you're going, what area you're in.
That is such a good question, and you have, I will take that question on notice.
Each area. So,
Yeah, Priscilla.
So, hi, I'm Priscilla, one of the teaching team here. We have had that request before, and I think we went to the Students' Association to see if there was any kind of funding that students can apply for. The actual college doesn't give the money for the process, unfortunately. But you should receive some concessions as a student as well. But yeah, we can take that on notice.
Yep. And the work integrated learning team will have more information about that, and you need to go through that team before you go onto placement. But yeah, I will make sure that we take that question on notice and get some information back to the MSW on flow. Any other questions? Yep.
Just another timetabling kind of question. With tutorials, if for some reason you can't attend on in one particular week your scheduled tutorial, can you attend another tutorial like of the same subject just at a different hour? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's that's a question you could ask the topic coordinator. If there will be a clear statement in your topic information booklet about attendance at some components, and some of it you will need to attend all of those, and there will be reasons for that. If there is any additional requirements that you have or changes, there will be information about how you may not attend some, and you are able to negotiate with those people about attendance at others, but usually not, and it is particularly difficult right at the moment because the university have had to make adjustments due to COVID about the numbers of people allowed in a particular space. So the topic coordinators are trying very hard and are required to make sure that people are safe in different spaces, in different rooms throughout Flinders, and they would mostly not be able to allow additional people into those spaces. So go back to the topic coordinator if that's an issue, but there will be norms and requirements that your tutors will let you know about, letting them know if you are not going to be here. Okay. We're on the home run, guys. This is the last bit. So Flinders are recommending that you plan your orientation and look at the different things that are being offered at Flinders at different times, and they've given you a link there about the resources and events. So I really encourage people to use those, familiarise yourself with those. And I think that the tendency is that people who are doing a master's sometimes think, well, I know a lot of that stuff, but I really encourage you to go in, have a look at the link and see what's relevant for you, because there is some really good stuff over that 4-week orientation program or period. This is some information about Oweek social events, and Oweek isn't just for school graduates. We offer a huge postgraduate program here at Flinders, and there is not just one demographic of students. There is a huge range of things that are available, and some of them may be more relevant to you than others. So I encourage you to have a look at some of those things. The orientation video for the library, I also encourage you to have a look at. There's a lot of consistency and similarity in libraries for universities, but there are always differences. So have a look at that. In preparation for today, I've had a look at that. I found it very useful, so I encourage you to have to go in, have a look at that and find out more. There are also mentoring programs that are available. I'll put my glasses back on. The O-Guide program for all new students, the e-mentor program, and Uni Access Mentor program. So there's a link there that you're able to register for those. And that is all that I had that is on my PowerPoint today, but I would also be happy to answer any questions that you may have about the MSW.
Are there any questions online, Louise, that I'm going to collaborate?
Oh, good. I don't think, yeah, that's not an option. That wasn't an option in the last one either.
But we do have another enrolment session, online enrolment forum through Collaborate on Wednesday evening
definitely encourage people, again, as I said before, to go to their flow site and have a look at the information that's in all of those. It's good to, yeah.
I just had a clarifying question about prerequisites for placement. Was it just for one subject of engaging in professional practice or something similar to that title? That's a prerequisite for semester 2 placement, and then the other subjects that are within your first year, you can do any of them before placement or not?
You need to do those other topics before. Sorry, I confused you with that. The topic that I outlined in red, you are unable to do your placement if you fail that topic. From memory, I'll get back to you on that one, the amount of times. But Priscilla can answer that one as well, twice.
So engaging in professional context is that skills topic that provides you those baseline kind of skills that enable you to go into placement. And so we wouldn't normally progress students to placement if they fail that topic more than twice. It's a fun topic. It's a kind of skill. It's where students get to do the kind of skills of social work. But the other thing about the other topics is there's a lot of kind of co-references. So the schedule, I think, that you've got there is the sort of suggestion for students to do so that topics flow nicely from one to another. You can get waivers applied if you give students a part-time, for example, and need to do things out of sync. But normally that's sort of how things run, really.
That's the regular way. And I would say to you, as well as Priscilla's comment about that engaging in professional context being something that is fun, it's also something that most students want to get under their belt before they go on placement. And it's a commitment that we have to you as students for your well-being, that you've mastered those skills before you go on placement. So, yeah, but there are variations, but as Priscilla said, usually students follow that course.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Any other questions before we finish up? I'm just reminding you, Sophie's here to ask enrolment type questions, and also Jackie is at the back, and for people online, they're able to go through Ask Flinders to ask any questions that you may have.
See, if you're an online student, which I am, and I'm set up on Flow and whatnot, but I still am wondering, next week I need to start lectures and tutorials or whatever, the nuts and bolts of getting that organised, is it the library, is it to sort of make sure that I'm where I'm meant to be online next week?
Do you mean, are you enrolled in what you should be in?
I'm enrolled, but obviously there's a lot of systems and bits and pieces of Flinders. So I'm sure when I understand it, it's going to be simple, but right now it's a bit, I seem to be clicking and not quite getting there.
Yeah.
Where do I go? Is it Flow? Is it the library? Where do I go next one?
Yeah, it's Flow.
Yep.
No. So Flow is the...
Like, I am actually on my phone right now.
Yeah.
But like, who helps? Is it just called
Flinders Connect.
So it's...
And also, if the topics, once you enroll in the topic, the information flow only appears, I think, 1 week before the topic commences. So if you visited it previously,
So that you will know who your topic coordinator is when you go into Flow, and you will see those topics appearing, and that information will clearly be in that topic booklet that we talked. Yeah, in that particular topic, there will be information about who to connect, who to have that conversation with if it's specific to the topic.
I'll just clarify for people as well, if you are enrolled in a topic, in an online availability of the topic, it won't appear on your timetable. If you're registered in an online availability for the topic, there are no lectures or tutorials scheduled because you'll be taking the entire topic online. Now, you'll do that in your own time within the restrictions of when assessment is due. Obviously, you can't leave everything until the last week. But if you want to log into the topic at 2 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, that's okay. If you're registered in an internal availability of a topic, you may still have some online classes, but they will actually be scheduled at a particular time. So it's important to check your enrolment to see whether you've enrolled into an online availability or an internal availability of the topic, because that will determine what you see in your timetable.
So does that mean whether you're attending a class live
Yes.
or pre-recorded?
Yes.
So obviously the benefit of being able to live, you can ask questions.
Yes, and in some topics, you may be enrolled in an internal topic that has some classes that are streamed online and others that are face-to-face, where you're actually interacting with a lecturer or a tutor or a topic coordinator in a workshop. So I've had a lot of questions on Ask Flinders saying I'm enrolled in a topic but I can't see the topic on my timetable, and it's usually because the student has enrolled into an online topic that has no timetable.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So how do you click on, how do you find it if it's not on your timetable?
You just go to Flow. So it just means that there's nothing, you don't have to log in at 2 o'clock on a Thursday. The topic still exists on Flow, whether you're enrolled in an internal or an online topic, but your timetable just shows you the things that you need to show up for at those times. So your timetable does not determine your enrolment. You can check your confirmation of enrolment on your student information system to see if you've actually enrolled into a topic. If you're not quite sure, if you think, oh, I don't know if that worked, you can check your confirmation of enrolment, and that will tell you exactly which topics you've enrolled into and for which sessions throughout the year. But your timetable is just a picture of the things that you need to attend that have a schedule. Okay? So don't think of your timetable as an example of your whole enrolment.
I was just going to say, it doesn't help that we do have a few, since COVID, we've got quite a few different names for availabilities. We've got, it could be Bedford Park, which is generally what an internal one will be. There's Flinders. Online, external, it gets a little bit confusing. So yeah, just have a good read of it when you're enrolling.
And if we want to attend the online lecture and we're enrolled internally, we still do the online lectures anytime?
If the lecture is being recorded and you're enrolled in an internal topic but they're still streaming the lecture, it will be recorded. You can either log in live or you can watch it back later through your Flow.
And that's all via the Flow. So when you go in, you will see, and as the semester continues, you will see those lectures are available and they will stay there for you.
Yeah, so you can rewatch.
Yeah. Any other questions about the MSW?
Probably while we're on the placement, which I know that
Yep, that's okay.
further away. I'm guessing, I've heard that it cannot be a paid placement. So if you're in a workplace where they could accommodate it or whatnot, no, it cannot be a paid placement. So you can't use it as well.
Some students do placements in their place of employment. Place of employment placements are something that need